Of course, it's Sherlock Holmes. Speaking of, Robert Downey Jr. actually played a really good Sherlock Holmes. Like, he's just got that perfect level of, like, acting to where he can be an arrogant, high-end person, still be a genius, and it'd be perfectly fine.
This
Nobody
bust
cares.
was used to
In
fool
fact, they like
Colonel
it.
Moran during the case of the empty house.
I assume that's for going around here and finding absolutely everything I can.
I have found your map.
Oh, beautiful. It's just like the other game I played like this. Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper. I don't know who that one was by. Possibly the same people. It might be a sequel here. I don't know. But I liked the game. I mean, it was a bit low graphic and kind of disturbing at points, but it was a good game.
The police? Already? How did you know?
May we see the Bishop of Knightsbridge?
Yes. Yes, of course. But come in.
I love the bowler hat. It's
What has
Watson's
happened, Reverend?
significant thing.
What?
I don't know. It was last night, I think. I only just arrived, and I have made this macabre discovery. My God. How horrible. I haven't called anyone. How did you know that?
Holmes, look!
The Bishop, appallingly mutilated.
How dreadful.
Mutilated. And killed. He was such a good man. How could anyone be so brutal? Look at him. He is barely recognizable now. How could any of God's children be responsible for that?
They were evidently unworthy children, Reverend. Now do please try to calm yourself and focus, because we will need your assistance. Do you have any idea as to the motive behind this?
I haven't had time to do an inventory, but nothing appears to have been stolen. And anyway, His Excellency didn't own anything of great value. I don't know what else I can tell you.
Note this down, please, Doctor.
Doctor? But you aren't the police?
No, Reverend. I am Sherlock Holmes, and this is Dr. Watson. We are here at the request of the Bishop.
In that case, I must ask you to leave. And not to touch anything. I must get in touch with the authorities without further delay.
Reverend, when the inspectors of Scotland Yard find themselves at a dead end, which they quite often do, I assure you, then they turn to me for help. If you will allow us to continue our investigation, then you shall have the answers to all of your questions.
Out of the question! I don't even know you! I'm going to call the police, whether you like it or not.
It would be better for everyone, Reverend, if you kept your temper. Watson, are you taking notes? This affair promises to be a complex one. Therefore, we must not overlook the slightest detail.
Yes, Holmes. I am keeping a meticulous set of notes. I have created a very clever deduction board. One thing we can be sure of at the moment is that this crime was not for gain. The Reverend has informed us that nothing valuable was stolen. And indeed, it would seem that the Bishop had nothing of any worth to take.
Very good, Watson.
Except his life. That is valuable. Possibly someone trying to get his position. Okay. Doot.
A bottle of whiskey. I can make out fingerprints stained with blood and dirt.
They don't look quite large enough to be a regular
A
person's.
broken bottle of whiskey. However, the Bishop of Knightsbridge was known for his sobriety. It would seem that the brutes who tortured the Bishop to death were intoxicated with alcohol.
And the body itself.
The fingers have been crushed and violently struck.
It's as if they
The
tortured him for
fingers have
information.
been crushed and violently struck. The fingers have been crushed and violently struck. His forearms have been ripped. Pieces of skin have been torn off. What do you think, Watson?
I'd say that he was eaten alive. Yet I've noticed a curious degeneration of the skin tissue around the wounds.
Anything about his bonds?
His stomach is covered in scratches. Quite evidently, they weren't made recently.
So, these wounds were not made by his murderers.
Afterwards, possibly rats or maybe a dog?
You can see by his expression that he suffered terribly.
His mouth is covered in blood, and I can make out strips of skin between his teeth. My dear friend, everything points to this man having gnawed at his own forearms.
That's unbelievable, Holmes.
Trying to escape.
His chest has been lacerated, I would say, with a very sharp and fine blade.
These burns are terrible.
His feet have been burned.
My first impression is that he wears a size 9 shoe.
You? But what does it matter, Holmes?
Oh my.
A finger. Apparently it doesn't belong to the Bishop of Knightsbridge.
How dreadful.
So he bit off the finger of somebody, I guess. You see that back behind him?
Something is missing here.
Oh, yes? And what might that be?
His shoes. Watson, his shoes are missing.
Why would someone take his shoes?
There is blood on this paperweight. This
So
paperweight was used to crush the victim's fingers.
Reintroduction, Holmes. I just said same thing. What's with the cord over here?
It's a cilice designed to bruise the person wearing it. The bishop wore it as repentance.
Oh.
No, it is a discipline for self-flagellation. This very pious man must have had the habit of mortifying his flesh as a means of repentance.
That's terrible.
I need something. Reverend, I'm missing something, an implement with which to open this chest. Could you tell me where to find it?
No, go to the devil.
What are you afraid of, Reverend? What is inside the chest?
I'm not afraid of anything. In fact, I do have the necessary implements, but if I have to give them to anyone, it will be to a representative of the law and no one else.
Who you are talking to?
A surgical scalpel covered in blood. There isn't any doubt the wounds on the bishop were administered with this scalpel.
There appears to be something on the ground.
A broken file and blood near the neck.
What a strange smell. Chemical components, I think.
A knockout drug of some
The
sort.
picture of Peregrine Maitland. commander of the infantry brigade of Her Majesty's Guards at Waterloo.
The Bishop of Knightsbridge has the same name as his ancestor, an illustrious family.
Don't think there's anything else in here.
You have no right to search here.
Yeah, we do.
Watch where you're putting your feet, Watson. Have you noticed these prints upon the ground?
Well, yes,
Indeed.
those muddy marks.
See here, Watson. Footprints can often provide more vital information than the very best of informants.
Yes, if you know how to make them talk, that is.
It's child's play.
I want to
Watson.
bet it's the
We will begin
same
by
shoes
excluding the contaminating
leaving.
prints, which are yours and mine from where we came in, and those of our dear Reverend who was so impatient to call the police.
Okay. So I guarantee.
Size 9. Size 9. Size 9. Size 9.5.
So that one is not.
Size 9.5.
That is not.
Size 9. Nothing of interest here. A fragment of stone. Peculiar. This print came from an expensive pair of shoes, and it seems recent. It is not a laborer's shoe. Hobnail boots like those worn by laborers. Hobnail boots like those worn by laborers. Hobnail boots like those worn by laborers. Hobnail boots like those worn by laborers.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, it's.
Well-worn shoes with an odd pattern on the soles. Well-worn shoes with an odd pattern on the soles. This print came from an expensive pair of shoes, and it seems recent. It is not a laborer's shoe.
So we got a 9.5 and a 9.5. Have to find out. So expensive 9s.
Size 9. Size 9. Size 9. Size 9.5. Size 9.5. Size 9.
So
Closed. The veranda door hasn't been forced. Strange. Reverend, might I have the key?
No! You have no authority here. Let me call the police.
Perhaps
Stop
we should
it.
listen to him, Holmes.
Perhaps you should let me get on with this, Watson. This door has not been forced. Where does it lead, Reverend?
To His Excellency's room. There is just a mattress and a stool.
this could help. Being that it's his room.
The bishop's bedroom. It is very austere. Nothing in particular here.
Never mind. Okay. So he wears 9s.
This stove is filled to overflowing.
What do you think, Holmes?
I think you guys are crazy. value. The veranda wasn't searched. For sure not the first one. Let's check back at this man.